like you said, the instant gratification. I want to go back to the focus topic we were talking about earlier. I think, like you said, the instant gratification is what the one of the major impacts of the lack of focus, because, like you
Oh,
said,
yeah,
we have
without a
the
doubt.
we have the ability to get stuff now. So when stuff doesn't happen as instantly as we want, it bothers us. But how do we learn to separate Uber Eats or DoorDash being in 5 minutes versus the work ethic and the trial period of sucking at basketball for a period of time to actually reap the rewards of my work actually.
That's the $1 million question right now. And you're absolutely right. How do we go from DoorDash, Uber Eats, Netflix, we want what we want, we get it when we want it, how we want it immediately, to you need to kind of suck at this for a while to get good. It's tough. One of the things that we try to instill in my sessions to players is to have a growth mindset. And I know you saw that quote from Giannis, right, in the media the other day. They asked him about the Bucks being out of it now. Is the season a failure? And he said, no, it's definitely not a failure. We're getting better every day. That's kind of the mindset that you have to get better. But unfortunately, all these different forces now in modern society kind of work against it.
Hmm.
I had kids in private sessions tell me in November, December during the basketball season, the beginning of the basketball season, I'm not getting the minutes that I promised or that I was promised, or I'm not getting the minutes that I deserve. I think I'm out of here next season. I mean, I don't have the answer how, other than just continuing to tell them that you're only going to get better if you fail some too. Failure is such an important but underestimated part of the process. One, we go to great lengths to protect ourselves from failing. And two, we're talking about the parents. The parents want to sort of metaphorically wrap us in bubble tape where we don't get any scrapes, right? But if you think about it in life, we learn more from our failures than our successes. And we grow more from those failures than the successes. It's interesting. I'm working with a soccer team here in Memphis. I'm a big soccer guy. Love it. Arsenal's the greatest. They were undefeated for 10 games. No one had scored a goal against them in 10 games.
Mm.
And I kept telling them, I want you guys to have some adversity. And they kept looking at me. I want someone to really give us a hard time. I don't want to say beat you guys, but, and then they had someone that beat them. And it's been the best thing for them as far as bouncing back. If you're not willing to sort of get out of your comfort zone and risk failure, you're not going to build grit and resilience that makes you that much better,
So, do you agree with what Giannis was saying about it not being a failure?
Without a doubt.
Hmm.
There's a difference between it not being a failure and it not being the way that they wanted it to go. But it's definitely not a failure. I mean, the Bucks had a winning season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Bucks made the playoffs and then got knocked out, right? Were they first round, or I don't remember what round. Yeah. So a lot of teams don't make the playoffs. And I'm not talking about being happy with that and letting that breed complacency at all. I'm not, because someone's going to hear what I'm saying and think, oh, that just makes them mediocre. Don't be happy with it, but don't see it as a failure either. I tell every athlete after every game, win or lose, when you go back to your home, unpack that game mentally. Compartmentalize everything that you did and then break it down in your mind, or even write it down on a piece of paper. What I did well and what I could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
And do that every time and be really critical with yourself. And that's going to help facilitate a growth mindset, doing that. Instead of seeing everything as life or death or win or lose. It's the kids that do that. They're going to be so up and down because, when you play this game, it's so situational. There are a lot of variables you can't control. Giannis couldn't control every variable during the season and in that first round of the playoffs. He can't control what other players do. He can't control a lot what the other team does, what the refs do. So we always tell players, control what you can control and try to let go of the rest. It's all you can do. If you gave it your best shot and you left it on the court, I don't see it as a failure at all.
I've been wrestling with that. Um, so there's like the black and white side, which is, results based business that basketball is. And of course, it's championship or you lost. And being the caliber of the team that Giannis was on is a failure. But because I actually did a video on this, so the definition of failure is lack of success, which is obvious. But then the other definition was not achieving a goal or hitting something like that. Your goal is to do this and you don't reach this goal, and so there is a level of success for the Kings. They got out the first round, but they didn't have championship aspirations, so their season was a success. Versus the Bucks, who had the exact same outcome, but their goal was a little bit higher because they wanted to reach championship. So, of course, success and failure is different because their output or the outcome that they were looking to have were two different things, but they got the same thing. And so, picking back on what Giannis was talking about is all the seasons that led up to this was not failure. So I agree with that part because you need to learn these lessons of, okay, we suck this season. Let's draft this guy. Okay, boom. Let's do this and learn this lesson. Okay, we got a better coach. Now the coach knew how to handle the situation. The players know how to handle the situation. So it took this time frame. How many years it took him to get a championship? Like, I think 8 years. So those 8 years were failures because he didn't have the championship, but he learned things throughout that process, and that led to the final ultimate success of winning championship. So I don't know, man. Like I haven't come to a conclusive thought about Giannis' statement, but that's kind of where my mind is right now about it. Because of course you turn your failures into lessons and all that stuff. I agree with that. But at the
I
end of the
think
day,
I
we're
think the very concepts of success and failure is so subjective. Everybody can have their own definition. Um,
yeah,
no matter what it says in Webster's or the dictionary, you know what I mean? And he's looking at it long term, strategically, his development as a player and their overall journey, I think, instead of one season. So it depends whether you're looking at it longitudinally, latitudinally. Um, but if he says it's a failure, there's a sort of, if there's an emotional connotation to that, then he's not going to grow. It ends at that point. I failed. But if you have a growth mindset, it's like, we came up short this season. However, it's not a total failure. You either win or you learn, right? It's not necessarily always win or lose. Um, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion. You know,
yeah,
there are no mistakes if there's lessons learned, and it makes you better, and there's growth from it. Definitely.
yeah. I think the whole, like you said, the perspective of what failure and success is, and how do you define success and failure is the key thing. So that's a ongoing philosophical debate that people can have and never really come to a conclusion to. So, but like you said, I think growth mindset is the key to where you learn from everything, the good and the bad. But I think most athletes do need to adapt that growth mindset because we get so caught up in basically our lives are attached to the win or the loss.
Oh, without
So,
a doubt, without a doubt. And America, it's different.
mhm,
I've been to London twice in the last 6 months doing soccer stuff, and they have ties there. It's outcome based, and it's even more high stakes because they have promotion and relegation. So there are 20 teams in the Premier League. The bottom three get kicked out of the league. So it'd be like in the NBA, the bottom three end up in the G League, where they lose hundreds of millions of dollars every year, and they have to earn promotion back. So in the top three in the G League would come up every year. So you'd have, I don't even know G League teams anymore. The Reno Bighorns might make the NBA one year, and then a Creddy team will get kicked out. So it's interesting how that works.
Hmm. That'll be a very interesting thing if the NBA tried to adapt that.
I think it would be great. You wouldn't have teams tanking at the end of the season
No.
for lottery picks if you know you're going to lose $200 million or whatever it is by being demoted or being relegated. To me, that is failure. Now, there's no debate there, right? You get thrown out of the NBA and go to the G League because you've been relegated, or the Reno Rhino Horn, whatever they call them, get promoted. That's success. You know,
Hmm. That's interesting. I have to think about that one more.
it's a great
And
concept. I wish we would do it over here. It's really cool.
I think that they would have to remodel because it's basically a development system to get players to move up. I don't know how actually effective that is, but that's
Yeah.
another conversation for another day. But that could be a whole different strategy that the NBA could look into.
Well, the interesting thing, the bottom 3 or 5 teams in the Premier League, now they're at the end of their season. It's about to be over in a few games. They're playing their butts off right now. You don't see that in the NBA with the bottom teams. They're
No.
they're playing just to stay up, to stay afloat. So it just made me think of the whole success and failure thing. It's a whole different level.
Hey, relax. It's okay. Listen, I understand that your goal is so big that it just feels daunting. It just feels overwhelming. Like you trying to get to the NBA, you trying to get to WNBA, you trying to play D1 college ball. I understand. Sometimes that feels like a lot. But listen, you're not gonna make that jump from now tomorrow to be to the league or be in D1. So let's just slow down and focus on the whole journey. Enjoy where you're at right now, but don't get too comfortable. You have to still keep working. You still have to make some type of progress and still keep growing. All you gotta do is think about this. If the minimum I can do today is get 1% better, you winning. Because there are some people gonna take a step backwards. There are some people that's gonna stop and just be equal. But technically you're not gonna be equal because I'm getting better than you, so it means you fell backwards now. And so you gotta get 1% better. Because it's a slow grind from where you're at now to where you want to get to. You don't have to worry about taking over the world in one day. Just take over step by step, one piece at a time, 1% better. It's a whole journey. Okay, you got this goal that's just hanging over you, weighing you down. But this goal, the end destination, it's not gonna change. So you have to appreciate the journey and taking steps to get there. You're a marathon runner, but the whole marathon is about focusing on that next step. So I need you to go ahead and look at whichever one you want. You can get this one of the other ones. But I need you to get this reminder for you. Get you a hoodie, a t-shirt, whichever one, as a reminder that progress is my only goal. And progress don't mean I'm perfect. Progress don't mean I'm there. Progress means I'm getting better. Because better and better adds up to being the best you that you can be. But the best is not existing because you're always going to get better. So get you this peaceful reminder right here to say, hey, all I gotta do is be a little bit better, 1% better, and I'll get to that goal at some point. So remember, it's about the entire journey and not just the end goal. Because progress is the only goal.